Hey everybody, welcome to episode 123. We're almost a quarter of the way through the second 100. Um, a couple of cool things. This kind of, helps me break out of my seasonal funk that I'm in. A couple of things I was pretty excited about. I think I had a great day yesterday. Yesterday was Thursday, so I'm recording this on Friday now. You'll probably won't see this until Monday, I believe. So you'll see this for the after the weekend. My son will be here this weekend, so hopefully we'll have some more fun as well. But yeah, I had my friend, not the Ruther friend, but my other friend I keep mentioning. I call him the gifting friend. He's the one that's gifted me many things, including this lovely Wacom Cintiq, which I use, every day for work. He's helped me out a lot in life, so, he's probably, I don't want to say I have a best friend because I like all my friends equally. Some friends I just am closer to than the other ones, so I guess that's technically your best friend. So he's definitely a lifelong friend. Actually, it kind of goes all the way back to the beginning, although I didn't really know him that much when I was really young. But my sister is named after his aunt, and my mom went to high school with his mom, so we've known the family for a pretty long time. But anyways, I'm sitting here working, not really even thinking much. It's like noon. This is yesterday, and he just up and texts me. I get texts all the time. Mostly it's advertisements and stuff, and I look and it's him, and I'm like, what's going on? And he says, I totally forgot. He works for one of the big auto companies, and they have like an entire month off because they have a switchover. I think that's how it goes with the company. So he has like an entire month off for the holidays, and he just up in blue and says, "Hey, I'm thinking about heading up towards you," which he's down in Rochester, my hometown, and it's about 100 miles from here south. It's about an hour and a half drive up 75. Anyways, he says, "I'm thinking about heading up and hanging out if you want to, if you're not busy." Shh. I get guests. I can probably count in the last 10 years. I've probably had guests over about 20 times, 25 times in the last 10 years. Maybe longer than that. But I get guests here. My sister, she comes into town for holiday, or she comes in town twice a year usually. She used to come more, but it's getting too expensive with plane airfare and stuff. She lives out in Arizona. This year she's going to come 2 times, and she came up and visited during the summer vacation, which we usually do. And she comes up for the holidays, so she'll be up in a few weeks for the holidays. So she stops in and visits, and sometimes stays overnight for at least twice a year. So that's 2 guests a year. My other group of friends, they try to come up. They seem like they only come up like once a year. And then I talk to this buddy like every other week on the phone, but I don't really see him in person. And I assumed I'd probably see him over Christmas break when I go back down to my mom's, which is coming up, by the way. Anyways, I go down to my mom's, take my son, my sister's in town. He stops by, usually drops off a Christmas gift for my son. Usually for me too. Like I said, he's a nice, very gifty guy, a great guy. And that's not why he's a great guy, but I mean, it's just one of his many qualities. So, anyways, so I only get like maybe, at best, let's say he comes up twice, maybe 5, 6 times. I'll have guests for the entire year, so maybe once every couple of months if you average it out. I don't get a lot of guests. People are busy. They got their own schedules. An hour and a half drive up 75. To me, it doesn't seem like a hike. Maybe now it does, but back in the day when I lived in more around Washington D.C. area for a couple of years, you had to drive an hour and a half just to get down the street because of the traffic. But I mean, let alone like every weekend, you'd go out to Baltimore, you'd go to Philadelphia. Everything was a little bit of a distance. So I was used to doing that. I mean, just driving into the city from where I was at took 45 minutes, and yeah, on the metro, after you stop the metro stop and go into town, you're talking another hour and a half just to get into town. So, but you know, my friends are, you know, they haven't really moved out of the, you know, the Detroit area. So heading up north, anywhere north of, like, say, Holly or Flint, is a trek. And so, anyways, neither here nor there. So anyways, he came up, and when he was here, he asked me, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "Oh, I do need to get to the grocery store," because I remember I don't have a car. So he said, "Oh, I'll take you there." He says, "You want to go anywhere else?" And I said, "You know, I wouldn't mind going to Ollie's." Now, I don't know if you know what Ollie's is, but Ollie's is like a discount store. Basically, all the overstock or the unsold stuff that can't even sell on clearance, or maybe even bypasses clearance from like Target or Walmart. It all ends up at Ollie's. I think in other states you got different names for the stores, but I think Ollie's are pretty much a nationwide chain, because I see a lot of toy collectors online talking about Ollie's. But for the longest time, I had okay luck with Ollie's, but everybody was saying online, and I hadn't been there for at least a year. So, and everybody was talking online, talking it up, saying, "Oh yeah, Ollie's right now, they've got all the stuff, you know, all the toys and stuff for Christmas. Stuff that only came out like a few months ago is already at Ollie's for like mega discount." So no, it's worth checking out. So I said, "Hey, you want to run over to Ollie's?" And he didn't even know what Ollie's was. He's like, "I'm pretty sure they have one down in the Rochester area," but you know, he didn't know what it was. I said, "Yeah, I gotta head over there." So went over to Ollie's, and you know, we're walking around there, and they had a big toy display in the beginning because it's Christmas. And sure as shit, there was a few things that, you know, if I was in my toy hunting mode, I would be like, there's a few things here. And so G.I. Joe Classified, although I kind of stopped collecting a lot of it, but G.I. Joe Classifieds, there's Star Wars Black Series, Star Wars 3 3/4 inch, Star Wars Retro. If I wanted like all the Obi-Wan, Mandalorian, that type of the retro, I usually stay with the original Saga Retro. But if they had, like, if I wanted any of that stuff, all of it there for like $3.99. Essentially what a Star Wars figure would have cost back in like 1983. That's a good price. I think that's a good price. $3.99 for a 3 3/4 inch 5 points of articulation action figure. That's what it should cost, not $12.99, or now I think they're even like $15 now. But anyways, and a lot of that stuff, I wasn't really looking to get it. I was just more curious. I wanted to go get out of the house. You know, I don't get to go over there. I haven't been there in a while. And I came across some Dungeons and Dragons stuff. They're the Dungeons and Dragons action figures, and I think they were $12.99, and even like, you know, the cartoon, original cartoon action figures, and I thought, you know, and they didn't have all of them, all the kids. They only had, you know, like Diana, Hank, and Bobby, and Uni. And I was like, you know, because it's like if I bought them for, you know, half off essentially, and I'd have to track down the rest, and I'd probably end up paying full price for the rest. And I know Target has some on sale, but I just think it's, I mean, if they were like $5, sure. Because I heard, you know, nothing but horror stories on the quality control on them. They just snap off, just taking them out of the package. So, kind of held off on that. They had some of the ones from the movie, which, mention the movie, by the way, the Dungeons and Dragons movie came out. I'll get to that. But they had some of the movie figures there and stuff. And there again, they're like $10. I think most of like Marvel Legends and the Star Wars Black Series are all like $10. So essentially, you know, $25 retail, you know, 70, I don't know what the percent, 60% off, whatever that is. Basically $10. So good price on those. And then I came across, I didn't buy it, but then I came across, they had the dungeon tile sets for 5th edition. Now I remember when those came out, because I usually watch them on Amazon, and I'll pull up Amazon in a minute here, but they had the dungeon tile set, comes in like a little carrying case, the handle, and those were, I think they're like $80 or something like that, or $60 for those sets. They might even have been more. They had those sets for $10, and the lady was stocking them, and she had a cart with hundreds of them on there. I mean, for $10 for a set like that, you could buy 5 sets, 6 sets for the price they came out retail, just like a few months ago. And you could have built a huge dungeon. I mean, you have plenty of tiles. They're all intersecting tiles that kind of form together. And then we walked around the corner, and they had the counters. They're like the poker chips that you put the little pieces on. Put the little not a figurine, but just like a little counter with a picture of the monster. And they had like the whole creature monster set for that. Again, I think it's the same price roughly as the dungeon tile set. $10. I mean, shoot. I mean, if I was really getting back in D&D 5th edition, I would be like, oh yeah, and that's what's crazy. I still was thinking about buying it, but I kind of held off on it. So, anyways, I needed some wrapping paper to wrap my son's Christmas gift, and they had some wrapping paper that matches the actual gift itself. So I bought a roll of that. It was only $2, $2.50. But I walked around the corner, and you know what popped up? It's sitting right there. Warriors of Krynn. Now, I don't know if you watched my Dragonlance episode or my video on what my thoughts on Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, but I love Dragonlance, and when I saw that, I looked at the Dragonlance book, and I was like, I don't know. They seem like they really flubbed it up. None of the original characters, no Tanis, no Gold Moon, none of the original characters seemed to be in it. It's like it was Dragonlance in name only. But it's Dragonlance, and I was like, I've been waiting for that to come to 5th edition, the campaign setting. So I wanted to get it, but then I held off on it. And then when I saw it pop up on Amazon when the stuff came out, and this was like the beginning of this year, it pops up, and they came with this box set, which I was like, what is that? And it's like, it's a board game, which is pretty cool. It's got miniatures in it. It's got everything, you can see the back of it. It's got all that stuff you can get in here. And the game, so can you see that okay? Anyways, the game, let me stick it up here this way. There we go, so you guys can see the cover a little bit better here. There we go, whatever. Anyways, this box came up on Amazon, and you could get it a few different ways. You could get just the game. You could get it with the actual 5th edition book, the campaign book, which has the beginning module in it. I think it's called Shadow the Dragon Queen. Or you could get the book separately. So obviously the books are $50-ish when they first come out. The game itself, I think it was somewhere around I'm looking here on Amazon. I'll pull this up here. They're selling it now on Amazon for $25. It says it was $39.42. That in itself, you can tell that's a discounted price. I think this game by itself was like $80. It was like the price of those Dungeoneer sets, like $86, $70, 79. I think it was $79.99 or something like that. You could buy the game with the book. Here's the book here. The Shadow of the Dragon Queen book. I mean, that's down to $23.30 from $50. I'm not going to buy this because, like I said, I don't know what's going on right now with 5th edition, and they say you don't need to rebuy all your core books and stuff. I don't know if I'm going to continue. I'd like to play Dungeons and Dragons again, but maybe if I can find a different group, or maybe I'll go back down to the Conquest game store. Maybe, I'm not sure. Maybe if my son gets back into it. I know he kind of is getting back into it with his friends at school because he's in junior high now. But I'll probably hold off on it. Again, it's not the Dragonlance I want, but I thought that the game would be cool. I thought, we can still play the game as a board game, because you can play it as a board game, or you can use the game in itself, the adventures in the game, for the 5th edition and use the components. I thought that was kind of cool. So, but again, it was more than that. There, it says it's $97.51. Again, you could tell that's a discounted price. I think it was like $150 to buy the book and the game. And the game was probably, just under $100. The book was like $50 or thereabouts, right? Give or take $10, $15. but it was expensive. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to pay that much for all that. I'm not even sure about it. So anyways, so there we are at Ollie's, and this is just the game. This doesn't have this is what you'd see at the top there. So you can get it on Amazon for $25, $9.99. $9.99. Same as those dungeon tile sets. I'm like, holy shit, I got to get that. Because like I said, for $10 for the price of a beer, essentially at a fancy bar, I was like, yeah, even if we play it once, sit down at the table and play it once, or we got his friends over to play, or I gotta read I checked the inside, I pulled the rule book out, so I gotta read the rule book, and see what how the game's, because I don't really know much about it outside of what I just read online. So I'm gonna go through this and see what we got and how the game's played. For anything, I mean, $10 just for me to read through the book, and for a little bit of entertainment. But I mean, like I said, we play it once, we got our money worth out of it, and for $10, you can't beat that. So I highly suggest, if you're looking for this stuff, toys, whatever, go to Ollie's. They've got a lot of great stuff. I'm not being paid by Ollie's, obviously. I like Ollie's as a store. Actually, my son's grandpa, my ex-father-in-law, who I still talk to, he actually told me about it when it first opened. He says, the old Sears in the mall, they opened this Ollie's store. You should go check them out. He went there to get like fish. You can get a lot of fishing and hunting and fishing stuff that's, from like the other mainstream big box stores that they kind of send over, and you get it for like, 60, 70, 80% off retail. So they had a stack of these so I'm sure at your Ollie's they've probably got a stack of them as well. I mean, they printed, it's just insane. To this box and the components, just the miniatures itself, and just the cards and stuff. I mean, if you were to get this stuff printed by a printer, I mean, you couldn't get it printed for $10. Even if you just had this game yourself, you couldn't get it for $10. So it's just insane. Six little miniatures, real nice miniatures. I think they're Noel Sears miniatures. Yeah, I mean, just 2 miniatures at the game store, unpainted, which these kind of have like a little bit of a black wash on them. They would be $5. If you were to buy 6 miniatures, it's $15 in just miniatures right there alone. And then you get all your, other stuff. It's kind of like a modular map. It has different like wilderness sections. Looks like most of it is an outdoor, wilderness adventure campaign as far as a like a dungeon itself. But and then they have the rule book, and then there's of course the adventure book comes with it, the scenario book. So maybe I'll keep this out too. I'll read through these. Basically different room configurations, different scenarios. You set them up, and again, I don't know if it covers it in here. Maybe it does. Yeah, it does actually. It gives you all your scenario information for running 5th edition, and I believe that the game mechanics of this game is just straight up 5th edition. It's essentially like a self-contained box set module that you don't even really need the rule books for, because this gives you enough rules to play the game with these 6 pre-generated characters. I believe these are the I don't know what the heck this guy is. I guess these are the characters. Yeah, it looks like it. These are the, I'll pull it out. These little character cards, and they've got they've got like more simplified, game specific stuff, but like I said, they give you rules and stuff on how to run it as a 5th edition adventure to the different scenarios. So that's pretty sweet. So for $10, hell yeah, I'm there all day. Remember, I'm all about the deal. Because I don't have a lot of money. And, actually what was nice too is I got to the cash register, my buddy just slips me a $20 bill for the wrapping paper of this and says, he says, here. I'm like, huh? He says, I just used to give this to, every time my girlfriend, line with my girlfriend, he goes, I have to give her money. I got, so he's like, here, take this and buy it. I was like, okay. So, I didn't, I got gifted again by my gifty buddy. He gave me, so all that stuff was free for me, So, luck out. I hit gold with that. So yeah, that's all I got from Ollie. So we left Ollie's or whatever, and let me just blow this up so you guys can see. You can see it better. So that's some of the. Oops. And move me around here. Put me over here. So yeah, see, there's your miniatures here. The box, obviously. Like I said, I don't have the book, and I think the special collection comes with the Game Master's screen. I don't really care about the Game Master's screen. It is kind of cool though. But yeah, there's all the stuff there, and then everything. So just so you guys can see it a little bit better. Other than that, we managed to go over to Electric Kitsch, the record store. They do not carry my Blue Steel Dean Markley strings that I want there, so I'm gonna have to order those online for the the Leo James there, the Les Paul clone. Eventually, I'm gonna put some new strings on the Kataxin too. I don't know what I'm gonna go with on that one too. I kind of want to try. I don't know what I'm gonna try. I kind of want to try those black nylons, but they're pretty pricey. They're like $50 a set. It's like, I don't know about that one. I'm sure I can find them cheaper online, just to try some black nylon strings. But then again, I like the wound round sound too. Steel. The nickel wound round. Can't do that round sound. But they didn't have those. I looked for all the records, new records, kind of pieced through anything. I did pick up one. The only thing I found was Going for the One. It's kind of funny. This was $5.66, and it's got the sleeve. This is how he packs them. This is exact. So he packs them like I'm packing them. He puts the disc in the back. He separates it. He puts it in a rice, paper sleeve, to protect the covers and stuff. So he really does a great job of, presenting these used records, and I haven't played it yet. I'm sure it's pretty good. They're really good about if it skips or it's real bad, they'll take it back. But I haven't really had a bad record from them yet, so I'm pretty confident it's good. I didn't actually look at the disc itself. Like I said, it's in the sleeve, but I'll clean it up. Because he usually cleans them too, but I usually do another cleaning as well. But it's funny, my buddy, the Gifty buddy, he's always like, when he says, what's that cover, that Yes cover, where it's got the naked man on the cover? And I go, Going for the One? He's like, yeah. He goes, isn't there a Rush cover too? The guy walking on a bunch of naked people? I go, he's walking on a brain. And he's like, it looks like he's walking on a bunch of naked people. He's like, yeah, it's another, man's butt cheeks on the cover. I guess that's a big Prague thing to do, is a lot of naked men. Would have been nicer if it was a naked girl, but hey, to each their own. So, anyways, I got Going for the One. I thought I'm like, do I have this already? But I think my son has it on CD. I had it, back in the early 80s on LP, but I know I had Tormato, and I was like, I don't think I have Going for the One. So at $5, like I said, that's the type of record prices I like to pay. Less than $10, I find to be a score when you get a good record. So that one's going to go on the turntable probably this weekend, and I'll check out some Going for the One. I don't know if I'm going to do a review on it. I kind of did the Yes review, and nobody seems to pay attention to my Yes video, so I don't think people are going to go gaga over the Yes albums. But pretty good stuff. It's got Awaken on it. It's probably its best song. Awaken's just amazing. I like Parallels, personally. Going for the One's okay. I think, isn't Wondrous Stories on it? I can't remember what else is on Going for the One. I know Wondrous Stories. Let's see what else. So let me just go through it real quick here. I guess I gotta open it's a gatefold. Oh yeah, I remember it being gate. Oh, I remember it being a big gatefold. That was a big gatefold. There's the guys there. That was the Anderson, Howe, Squire, Wakeman, and Alan White kind of lineup. Oh, here's the track list. Going for the One, Turn of the Century. It's funny. I got a story about Turn of the Century. I guess how we do it in time? I guess I'll pop the story in real quick. So I got this album in 88, 89. down at Sam's Jams, and I had saw it in a documentary, but I never owned it. And so I got it, I listened to it, and the Turn of the Century song, I liked it. But I was wondering what they were talking about. And it's funny, when I went to, right out of high school, I ended up going to college briefly. I only lasted 1 year. And then most of the classes I was taking were art classes. And I had an art professor that I did not get along with. I took him 10 years later, and we got along fine, and he loved my stuff. But when I was right out of high school, I was just too much of a spaz, and too much, he really was not liking me, and I was not liking him. And it's kind of the reason I quit school. I just didn't like, I was trying to get an art degree, and I just didn't like him. It's funny because in that documentary where Tony Kaye says, he says, when I went out of high school, I went to art school and then got kicked out of art school, which many of us do. And it's funny. He's like, I can relate to that. But anyways, the teacher just kept going off in my figurative drawing and figurative sculpture class about Rodin. And he's like, oh, there's a great French movie with where what's his face, Gerard Depardieu and Juliette Binoche. Gerard Depardieu plays Rodin, and it's all about it's basically Rodin was just, he loved to sculpt naked ladies because he loved banging naked ladies. I mean, hey, more power to him. Only in a Gerard Depardieu with his goofy nose and his, makes me look like a shrimp as far as a fat. He sure could get the ladies. At least he could on screen. I don't know if he could in real life. Probably with Depardieu money, he probably could. But anyways, he is French. But that whole movie was about Rodin, and the song Turn of the Century is all about Rodin. And it's like, oh, I didn't know that. I was like, because he was going over Rodin in class, and the movie was called Camille Claudel, and he's like, oh, let's watch Camille Claudel, and I was like, I don't think we watched it in school, but he had, wasn't required to watch, but he highly suggested watch, get a copy of Camille Claudel. It's a French movie, but it's English subtitles, and it's available, at the video store, and watch it. It really gives us an insight into that whole world. And I said, he mentioned it both in figurative sculpture and figurative drawing, and I was, like I said, I was already ready to, because I didn't like it anyways. But the thing is, it kind of hit me though. I think it might even hit me after I quit. No, I remember that evening. I remember coming home and listening. I was drawing what I wanted to draw, which was, essentially naked ladies. But anyways, it wasn't in the regards, like, it wasn't in the artsy fartsy Rodin's, Romanesque, or was it Rubenesque? No, that wasn't his century. I mean, it was turn of the century, so that's, when the time period was. But anyways, in France. But anyways, I think I just came home and I was listening to this album, and I was like, because he's talking about Rodin in it, and he's like, molds his passion into clay. Passion. And I was like, oh, that's what he's talking. He's talking about Rodin. That's all. The whole thing. I mean, that whole, two snakes coming together like this. So, I mean, it was the whole, oh, I get it now. So, that's kind of my takeaway when it comes to the going for the one album. Outside of the great song, like I said, I didn't finish reading off the track lists. I was just curious of Wondrous Stories. Yeah. So it goes, going for the one, Turn of the Century, Parallels, which is, I love Parallels. Wondrous Stories, great song. And then it's classic, yes. And then Awaken. Awaken's just an epic. I mean, it's just a Prague epic. It's awesome. And so this was great. I mean, this is technically better than Tormato, although I really like Tormato as well. But great album. Got it for 5 something. So like I said, I'm trying to keep my record buying too down to just key. I've got a list of key albums that I want, and obviously Yes from Big Generator back. I want, and maybe not the first two. Well, they actually did it, the very first album there, but I was like, The two first albums. Yes album I consider to be the first Yes album, and I've got the Yes album. I still need the two big ones, though, Fragile and Close to the Edge. I still need good copies of those. I'm holding out to find some good copies of those two. Excuse me, those two albums. I don't have a drink, do I? I forgot to grab myself a beverage. But got that, and sure enough, my buddy picked up the tab on the record too. So it was like a treat Timmy to a bunch of stuff day. So I felt like it was Christmas. Well, it kind of almost is. But anyways, that was kind of a neat thing. So then, and then he took me out to eat to my favorite pizza place in town. Actually, there's two of them. So we went to one of my favorite pizza places in town. Good stuff. Like I said, I'm trying to kind of watch what I'm eating too, so I kind of splurge on some pizza. I'm not worried about the calories so much. I'm worried about my acid reflux. But I'm fine. Didn't do anything to me. So he took me there and then hung out for a little while, and then he had to drive back home, so he wanted to kind of get on the road, even though it was dark out. He's getting kind of sleepy, so he ended up going home. Treated me to a great day, and like I said, I was desperate need of a great day, because I haven't had a lot of great days in a while. So I was very much appreciative of that. I know he's probably watched this video, so thanks again. Alright, so the last thing, I kind of wanted to mention this all in one video because I knew I wouldn't make a full video on all of this, but let's spend the last part of this video talking about Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate 3 specifically. Now, it's a PC game that's based in the Dungeons and Dragons world, based in, it's modern, it's based in the 5th edition, and Baldur's Gate to me also kind of holds a special place in my heart, like the original, because that's what kind of got me back into Dungeons & Dragons. So when I got out of 1st edition in the 80s, I didn't really buy much into 2nd edition Dungeons & Dragons. And, a lot of the various, like Spelljammers and Dark Sun and all that stuff had come out. The Monstrous Compendiums and all that stuff had come out. I've seen it like through the early 90s. But I really wasn't not really into it. And then and this was the late 80s, this would have been 1999, I believe. So yeah, just before the turn of the century. So anyways, or the millennium, I guess. I guess it's still a century, isn't it? Because we went from the 19th century to the 20th century, or 20th to the 21st. I don't know how that works. Anyways, we switched over. Millennium and century. So, but yeah, 1999, I had moved in with my sister. I was living with some buddies. I had a couple of I had a live-in girlfriend who kind of went crazy on me and left. And then I had another girlfriend, and that kind of fell through. It was very short relationships. I don't have a good track record with relationships. And obviously you can tell by watching my videos, I'm a pretty eccentric and kind of eclectic person. My personality, my interests don't seem to jive a lot with the opposite sex, so it is what it is. It's a shame, but I kind of 50 years old. I kind of what can I do? I mean, I guess I could change, but I have to basically become a different person. So, anyways, what was I saying? Baldur's Gate. So I moved back in with my sister for a little while. She had bought a house and kind of moved back to Rochester. I was living out in like Clinton Township with some buddies, and I had my computer there. I just kind of got online in 1997. So I had my computer there, and then I met some people at work who play Dungeons and Dragons. They were newer people, and I was working those midnight shifts at the medical lab, and so they invited me to, we're playing 2nd edition, blah blah blah, and I was like, hey, I kind of want to get back into Dungeons and Dragons, and so they invited me out to that trailer out in Holly. So I went up there with another buddy, drove me up there. I had a car at the time. I just wanted to, he just wanted to go too, because they said, hey, you've got any other friends who want to play D&D? So I had a friend that wanted to play, and we went up there, And it was fun. And I met another guy that was their roommate who me and him really hit it off. Kind of cool guy. I kind of lost touch with him, but he was a pretty good friend there for a while. And we. So what was? Oh yeah, what's this? So anyways, I went to an electronic boutique in Lakeside Mall, or one of those stores like that. Maybe it was there was Electronics Boutique, EB Games. What was the other one? Wasn't there another PC game in the mall? It wasn't GameStop, because I don't think GameStop was around at the, maybe it wasn't around at the time, but it wasn't in the mall. It was Electronics Boutique, and I'm walking around on the shelves looking at the games, and the PC games specifically. It's like, hey, let's see what they have in the PC games. I think it was Nintendo 64 was the system at the time, with PlayStation 2, I think, had just come out-ish. Yeah. Maybe PlayStation 2 was about to come out. I can't remember. But anyways, I walking around, and they had this game. It was called Baldur's Gate. I was like, oh, it's based on not Die 20, second edition Dungeons and Dragons, which was the THACO system. This is before Die 20. Die 20 came out very shortly after that with third edition, but and I was like, oh, this is really. I looked at the requirements and said, I think my PC can handle this. It doesn't seem like it's super, system heavy. So I ended up buying it, and I think it was like $25 or something like that. It wasn't super expensive. And I bought it, and it was like 6 discs, this fold-out kind of gatefold CD thing with like 6 discs. Whoa, it's got a lot of stuff in it. And I was like, oh, it's pretty much just straight-up Dungeons & Dragons. And then when I started playing it, I was like, oh, I love this. This is awesome. I mean, it's like, wow, you could essentially just play Dungeons & Dragons by yourself on a PC. And I love the sound effect. I remember coming home early in the morning from work and just sitting down. I made kind of a computer room in my sister's basement. My Aptiva was down there, and I would sit down there and play this game, and it was like, you could see like the sun coming up outside, but at the same time, they would play like this like outdoorsy kind of like wilderness sound with like that soundtrack, and kind of always sticks in my head. And it's like, oh, this is cool. It's like you make up a character, and then you have all these companions that come along with you, and you control them all, and all the stuff's turn-based. It was sort of turn-based with the fighting and everything. I was like, oh, I really like this a lot. And I played all through Baldur's Gate, and I think I played it through like 3 times with 3 different characters that I made up. I was just addicted to Baldur's Gate. This is like 1999, going into 2000. And then they had Baldur's Gate 2 came out. I played that, and then I was at a new job, and I was talking to a guy who worked the place, kind of the supervisors, and he was really into that Dungeons and Dragons and PC games, and me and him started talking about stuff and about the games. And then Icewind Dale had come out, and I loved that system. I think the 3rd edition came out too, so I was kind of back into Dungeons and Dragons lock, stock, and barrel by that time. And then going into the 2000s, I kind of stayed D&D heavy up until like I moved to Washington, D.C. Kind of got out of it at that time. So a solid, let's just say 99, 2000, 2001, 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006. Solid 7 years. I mean, a pretty intensive D&D playing. Both video games and pen and paper with 3rd edition. So I was pretty heavily into it. I loved the game. I loved the game then. I got into Warhammer 2 around that time again. I was real heavy, and I had a group of games. I was in college. I joined the gaming association at college, gaming club at college. So I was pretty heavy into it. So they kept talking about this Baldur's Gate 3 coming out, and I was like, okay. So let me flip over here. First thing, I wasn't sure if I wanted to play the game, so I kind of was hesitant. And then I saw, I'll get to her too. So this popped up, the artwork from Baldur's Gate. This is a PDF or a CBR. I think it's a CBR of it. So this popped up, and it's like, oh, it's got mind flayers in it. Oh, I wonder if it has Githyanki. I love Githyankis. Fiend Folio. Yeah, I love Get the Yankees. So there's going to be Get the Yankees in it. Oh, there's Cambians in it. You know, and there's a whole slew of characters that are going to be in the game. And I was like, what is that? It's like, is that a Gith Yankee? It's a girl Gith Yankee. I mean, you know me, I love my girls. I love my pretty girls. I especially love pretty ugly girls, where they're pretty and ugly at the same time. And I consider a Gith Yankee female a pretty ugly girl. And I was like, oh, I really like that. And it's like, I don't know who this is, but I like her too. It's funny. I watched a video and you know, they're talking about like, oh, you know, how they're making all the girls, you know, average and unattractive in video games and stuff. Whatever. I'm not getting into that whole fight. You know, it's just whatever. The woke fight, the you know, this, that. I'm not gonna. I've got my opinions on it, and I kind of saving them. You kind of know probably what I would think, but I'm just like, I'm not getting into that. I mean, I watch it. I sit and watch it with popcorn and just watch the fireworks. I don't really get involved in it. Because, like I said, I mean, if I really was to throw down a lot of what I really thought in my head, I probably would alienate and offend a lot of people. And again, why I don't really have very good relationships. I think of a lot of, you know, a lot of it comes from my dad. A lot of it just comes from just human nature. A lot of things like that. So, again, I'm not getting into the fight. However, this video this girl did, and she's like talking about how they make all the characters ugly, and she brought up Baldur's Gate 3, and I'm like going, what's she talking about? I mean, this is subjective, and maybe I'm the freak, but I think a Gith Yankee chick is hot as I think that's it's pretty hot. And then this character Shadowheart, you know, they're saying, oh, she looks ugly and she's too stern and stuff. And it's like, have you played the game or watched any video gameplay of it? Which I'll get to that as well. I'm like, have you seen any of that? Because she's pretty attractive, and I love her voice. And I've seen like the voice actresses. I won't pull them up. Maybe I'll pull them up. But anyways, the voice actresses who do these characters and stuff, and the girl who does the Gith Yankee, they motion captured her face. She looks like that character. She doesn't have a goofy nose and pointy ears. She's not green with spots, but she just has that same look on her hair and her face. She's kind of got that same look. Amazing looking. And it's like, okay, this character is based on a really hot chick, and it's pretty much they've captured all of her, you know, features and just, you know, added the fantasy elements and stuff. It's just like, maybe to you, because you're a normie, you think this is an ugly girl, but to freaks like me, you know, it's just like, like a fantasy girl, hence it's fantasy. But anyways, but yeah, so she right off the bat, this character just totally like, I just latched onto her. I was like, oh, I gotta play this game just because of her. And then she's like going through this art book. Here's like I said, here's Shadowheart. She's a high elf. And I don't know what this girl's saying. She looks ugly. It's just like, how does this elf princess look ugly? I mean, sure. I mean, they kind of toned down the sexuality by covering, you know, that she's not wearing, you know, bikini boob armor. Sure, that's fine. But I mean, as far as the face, I mean, how she looks like a fantasy elf chick. I mean, she looks attractive. I don't understand how this is not attractive. You know, it's like, especially it's like, was it all the accoutrement or all the craziness? I mean, I'm not a big fan of all that busy gobbledygook on the face. Like, I'm not a big fan of nose rings and piercings and tattoos. I'm not a fan of all that, but I mean, you know, it's not a deal breaker for me. Maybe it's a deal breaker when you think of the mentality that goes into girls that get all that gobbledygook. Then it's like, ooh, that seems like a train wreck waiting to happen. But anyways, again, it's you know, I'm just as much to blame. I'm terrible at relationships. So you take me as a toxic person and you mix it with somebody who's a batshit crazy. It's a train wreck waiting to happen. Trust me. There's this guy. Again, I mean, this guy's kind of like, you know, sexually ambiguous. Is he gay? Is he not gay? Is he bisexual? Of course, that's baked into everything nowadays. And again, I don't have really a opinion that's worth listening to on it. I'm not really homophobic. Um, I'm just going to make this comment. And I worked with a lot of gay men, especially when I worked in Washington, D.C. And I got to say, I never had anything against the dudes being gay. Like, I don't care who you're banging. Doesn't bother to me, you know what I mean? I'm not gay, and and I'm not, and most of the gay men that I've known said, Tim, you'd make a terrible gay guy. So I'm not worried about, not feel threatened or anything, right? I don't care. But anyways, I always just find gay men to be very arrogant. Some are great guys, but a lot of them I worked, especially in D.C., and maybe it's just because it was Washington, D.C., a lot of very arrogant people, and I don't like arrogant people. I try not to be arrogant myself. I try to be as humble as possible, even though sometimes I get very opinionated, and sometimes I can give the airs of being an ass. But, I don't know. I just don't like real harsh personality arrogance, and I found a lot of the, gay dudes that I worked with to be very arrogant. And it's very off-putting. It's just like, dude, it's like, Jesus Christ. It's like, I'm not going to be your friend, So that's really my only, when I think of people, when people are like really flaming, like, ah, you know what I mean? Sometimes that gets on my nerves too, as it does other gay men. There was a guy named, I won't give his name, but I befriended one guy who was gay, and, but you didn't know it. I mean, I guess he had a laugh, but anyways, you didn't really know it. And I got to be pretty good friends with him, and he would get so annoyed when, like, there's a couple of guys I worked with that were very, like, they were on 24/7, and they were super over the top, flamboyant. It just drove him batshit crazy, as did I. Actually, it drove him more crazy. Sometimes I just like watching it as a show, but he was just like, he would just roll his eyes whenever he'd walk over. He'd come up and he'd be like, hey, and he's like, oh God, I hate this guy. So that can be a little annoying, but it's not sexuality, that's just the personality. I mean, sure, it comes with, the sexuality, but I mean, it could be anybody. I mean, there could be completely straight people or whatever that just are abrasive, very arrogant, and very, like, in your face and just on all the time with so much energy. I can't take a lot of in small doses, but I can't take it. It's exhausting. So that's it. I mean, that's honestly, that's my opinion on gay men. Is just sometimes they can get on my nerves. Other than that, I don't care. I don't really care about what they do. I'm not homophobic. I don't feel threatened myself. Like I said, nobody knows I even exist. Gay or straight women, people leave me alone. That's probably a good thing, because like I said, I've got a personality that's very abrasive to other people, as you can tell. So, I guess I know my lane, and I stick in my lane. So, but anyways, as long story short, this character is kind of, sexually ambiguous. And again, I mean, I'm all just like the action figures. I like the ladies, so I kind of hyper focus on the lady characters. Gale I think he's a wizard. Here she is, Lazelle. Love this character. Love her. And actually, I'm doing a Baldur's Gate parody now for my webcomic. And I don't know if it's caught on yet. Some people like it. I'm about halfway done with it. And, I've put out about half of it so far. And it seems to be responding very well. And I didn't necessarily use these characters specific. I kind of wanted to kind of skirt the line of, it takes place in a fantasy world. Or these are fantasy characters coming into my world, my comic world. And because, like, the games are kind of open to creating your own characters, and you kind of can, I don't necessarily call it specifically, I guess I do name drop a few names from the Dungeons & Dragons world. So it's technically fan fiction, but it skirts the line of fan fiction to original characters, although, and I call, like the character, her I call her Lizzie, like Elizabeth, Lizzie instead of Lizelle. And then her friend calls her Lizard. It's kind of I had a friend, it was a dude, and he had a sister named Lizzie, and he used to always call her Lizard. So I kind of you know, co-opted that. So again, I've used this character in my world, and it's essentially fan fiction. But I mean, like I said, just kind of try to skirt the line with that. But yeah, I love this character. Love her a lot. I mean, it's favorite character in all of Baldur's Gate 3 so far. And again, it's like she is. I think she's beautiful. So I love the upturn. I love the Githyanki's. You know, you basically. It's not that I had like an autoerotic fixation with the. Maybe I did of the Githyanki on the cover of Fiend Folio, but like I said, you take those aspects, and I think I even drew female Githyanki's in the past and tried to nail this, and they nailed it. So my hat's off to these guys who designed this character. Love her. The Cambion girl, she's pretty cool. I like her. She's obviously she's more like a succubus. I've kind of had to do some to kind of do the comic. I featured her as well, or a version of her, and I kind of did some research into Cambion. I thought she was a succubus at first until I read, they're Cambion, which are essentially just like demons, devils, almost the same thing. She's cool. I put her in my comic too. But the thing is, this one's more like she's kind of not really butch, and I guess she's maybe lesbian, not lesbian. You can romance any of these characters, which is pretty cool in the game. I think you could do that in the old Baldur's Gate, but it's pretty simplistic. But this game, you can romance the characters. Your player character can romance any of your companions, and male or female, whatever you want to do. And she's a tiefling. I think red tiefling girls are really attractive. I'm not a huge fan of the tails, but I like the ears and like the horns and stuff. And then she's got like this burning flame in her heart, in her chest, that kind of her heartstone or whatever, since she has like exhaust. I didn't really catch a lot of that when I started making my version of her, so I don't really incorporate a lot of that in my character. But the more I kind of learned about her, I was like, hey, I missed a lot of traits. My stuff was just kind of superb. Mine basically is just a female red tiefling, and this girl's like big. She's a barbarian, so she's tall. Kind of like a She-Hulk kind of character, which again, I like that kind of character as well. But I made mine taller than the other girl, but she's more, a little more feminine, not as, dudeish. But I think either or is fine. I mean, like I said, I like the big tough chick too. I like that a lot. And some cool. I should have looked more on the face paint and stuff. There's face paints on here. Anyways, and of course I call mine Kara. Karlach, I guess that's how you say her name. Karlach. But anyways, I call her mine Kara, so it's Kara and Lizzie are kind of my two characters I put in my story. And then they got some more of the notable companions. You got this, I think he's a white. Isn't he a white, or whatever they call him, or a witch, or whatever, I can't remember. Withers, Smithers. Anyways, this guy, have I come across him yet? I'll get to the game in just a minute, and like I said, I don't own the game, and I'll tell you what's going on with that. Oh yeah, Minthar. I love drow girls too, especially high priestesses. Oh, I got a thing for them too. And Minthara in it, and of course I just call mine Min in my story, so I put Min in there. I also put Shadowheart in there, but I call her Shay. But they're essentially these characters, but like I said, they're loosely, or they're a little more than loosely. They're kind of mid-loosely, sub-loosely based on these characters. I missed her. I remember this kid shows up, this tiefling kid. She shows up. I was thinking about having her, but again, I don't want to draw those. I make a joke in the comic about drawing tails and wings. But yeah, this whole world, I was like, I love the art. I love the design. This girl looks cool. She's kind of, she's not naked. There's nothing there. But yeah, I love this game, and it's like and like I said, this kind of got me, and it's featuring all the stuff that I love about Dungeons & Dragons that I wanted to put in my own games for the longest time. Mind Flayers, Githyanki, the Astral Plane, all that stuff, and it is all in this game for the most part, and I love it. I think it's amazing, and I've got my 2 cents on this game in relation to, say, like the Dungeons and Dragons movie or Dungeons and Dragons action figures, or all of the marketing and merchandising around Dungeons and Dragons. I think that, I don't know why, and I'm hoping they'll rectify the situation, but they've got a gold mine. In my opinion, they have a gold mine here for, exterior products, and they don't seem to be doing much with it at the moment. And the game is like the #1 PC game right now. Next to like Call of Duty. I think it's like new PC or first single player PC. I can't remember what the category they put it in, but it's like top of the heap for PC games. So it's not a commercial failure by any stretch of the means. In fact, it's a very strong commercial success. And I think a lot of people feel the same way with me. This is like Dungeons and Dragons 101. I mean, this, just like Baldur's Gate got me back into Dungeons and Dragons. I strayed a little bit, and this game has kind of got me hooked back into D&D as well. I don't know if I'm going to get super into playing it, but the pen and paper game, but the PC game, I'm just waiting for it to drop in price, and I'll get to that. And I'll tell you about the story, yada yada yada. Like I said, I'm playing this game vicariously and kind of in a weird, awkward way right now. So yeah, there's the art book. Again, amazing book. Amazing art, amazing designs. I love it. I just think I guess I keep saying it's amazing. It's amazing monsters in it. The goblins look just like the goblins in modern D&D. Dryads, I got a thing for dryads too. I got a thing for most female characters in some regard. There's cultists. There's cultists of Shar in it. Kind of got cultists in my comic too. I think female cultists of some like kind of demonic or some kind of evil thing it's hot too. It's hot. These guys look sweet. I love it. It's just amazing. I'm telling you, I don't like spiders, but they look cool. There's gin in it. I mean, all the cool shit of D&D. Mind flayers. Mind flayers up the yin yang. Elder brains. What do you call it? Intellect devourers. It's all there. Sorry I'm flipping through it so fast. So let's go to a couple of things. So there she is. What's her face right there? So anyways, on Steam, as you can see, the game's still $60, full price game. I know a lot of games have gone to $69.99, but $59.99 a game, and I think it is worth $59.99 because that's the going rate of a modern game right now. I think it's worth it because it's an outstanding game. However, I'm in a certain, what do you call it? Economic situation, and I also love deals, and I usually try to hold out for getting things at a deal and getting things at discount. So I've been waiting, and I thought maybe they'd do it over like Black Friday. They did not, and they do this all the time. And I've got it. This is in my wish list, so it'll give me an email as soon as it goes on sale. I'm waiting for it to go on sale. Now, if it drops to like $39.99, it's still a bit much, but I'll probably end up getting it. Obviously, if it drops to like $20, something like that, I'll buy it and add it to my library. People are making videos about physical media, and this is one thing I got to say is I've got a CD drive here that I can use. I would like to have this game in physical copy of it. I don't want a digital copy of it. I don't want Steam just for some point to say, nope, doesn't exist anymore, and then they pull it and they basically stole it from me. Or it's basically just a glorified rental. I would rather buy it and have the artwork and the book and the box and something to put on my shelf. And then I'll put the CDs in and run the CDs. That way also I don't have to put, how many gigs on my hard drive as well. I can run it off the CDs, and I have no problem doing that. That's how I did the original Baldur's Gate games. So, but I don't think that's the case. I've looked it up, and it doesn't exist like that. You really have to get it through Steam, or whatnot. Well, so, and I really haven't had any bad experiences with Steam doing that, so I'm not saying it's going to happen. But again, I'm waiting to play the game when it goes on sale. There's Lizelle right there. Or maybe it's a player character, because you can make a female Githyanki too. Oh, the romance. Oh, there's the romance. Anyways, see, I guess there's, yeah, oh, there's Naked Shay. There's that guy. Anyways, it says it's, yeah, it's rated for, I think it's mature audiences. I don't think there's any nudity per se in it, but it's got a lot of adult themes in it. Oh, there's the Baldur's Gate skull. Anyways, yeah, again, you know, I really want to play this and just waiting for it to go on sale. So, how have I been kind of going through the story, you may ask? You probably know. Oh, sorry, I'm not even on the screen. Woo, there I am, I'm back. Woof. So, what are we doing on time? Yeah, it's an hour. Let's wrap this up here. I'm just going to flip to this real quick. So, I've been playing it. Essentially, just been watching it. I've got this bookmarked, and this is saved in my my library as far as on YouTube. I've been watching it. This is I think it's over a day. I think it's like one day, and so it's like 26 hours, 26 and a half hours video. And it's a full game walkthrough, no commentary, it's just the game. Sound effects, you can watch all the cut screens. I just rewound it here just to kind of show you kind of where it, oh sorry, here, of course it's going to go to commercial. I'm sorry, I don't want to play the commercial. But anyways, I'm at like, I think I'm like here, like 3/4 of the way through, so I've gotten like 3/4 into the story. So I'm watching other people play the game, which is actually kind of a good thing because I can't get pissed off and yell at the computer, which I usually don't do with some of these PC games. But wasting time making mistakes and doing all that stuff, I don't like to do that. So I'm basically watching somebody play the game, and that's how I'm kind of consuming the story for free on YouTube through this walkthrough. And once that's all said and done, I'll know the whole story for the most part. I won't know every facet of it, obviously. And I'd like to create my own character. I like to romance my own characters because, like, he doesn't keep Lizelle, and I would keep Lizelle in the party probably the whole time. I probably have just all the girls and none of the guys. Just surround myself with a harem of all the D&D chicks. So, but yeah. Like I said, eventually I'm going to, I guess, I don't want to play this commercial on my video, so I'm just going to, but you get the point. It's on that there. I was just going to pull up some stuff here, but I kind of showed you the characters in the Shadowheart. I kind of showed you the characters in the art book. All this stuff is current right now. If you're interested in any of this stuff, just obviously go and do a Google search or go check it out yourself. If you're watching this video, you probably have already dabbled into Baldur's Gate or interested in it, or you're playing it. So, yeah. So, let me stop the video here, end it here. So, remember, like and subscribe if you like this. Into this stuff at the moment here. Obviously, still into the music stuff, not out of the music. Obviously, I'm still buying music here, so... just right now, we're going into Christmas, and like I said, things are gonna, be very musicy around here. So there's also that. I'm still playing stuff. Actually, I started playing some more Yes music on the guitar. Kind of taking a break from Kiss, playing some more Yes, learning in You and I, which I always wanted to learn, and then I've been picking up the bass again, and I've been playing some stuff, doing some Rush, doing some Geddy Lee, and I, pulled the acoustic classical out. I kind of was getting back into that. I go through them all, and I just kind of, I focus on one maybe, and then I go to the next one, and I just constantly kind of, I love to dabble. I love to experiment. Here this is my little, what do you call it? My little wizard's tower here. This is where I sit around and I dabble with all the arcane, using all the gaming vernacular. Yeah. So anyways, I'll let you guys go. Like I said, this video will post Monday. Well, you'll know that because it'll be Monday if you see this. If you see it on Monday. I'm going to spend some time with my son this weekend. We're going to do something fun. I did get a text that he's not going to his guitar lesson Saturday, which is kind of a bummer. I like to go to the guitar store too. So I don't think he's going to go to that. So we'll do something else. Hopefully that's fun. Like I said, I had a great day yesterday, and I kind of want to have a great weekend. So especially going into Christmas here coming up very soon, and I got to trying to get into another job also, a commission that I've got to kind of I want to get to a certain point before I head out of town because I'm going to be gone for a week. So I'm letting you know now that I'm going to be gone right around Christmas, like a few days before Christmas and maybe a day after. So I'm not going to be around to post videos, won't be around to make videos. So there's going to be a little bit of a Christmas break coming up for videos, for my web stuff, my web comics and stuff as well. But I'll get to that, and I'll explain that in a message out to a lot of my patrons and stuff, and tell them about me being gone. There's twice a year that I take a week off. I take a week off in the summer right around my birthday in July for my summer vacation, and I take off a week for the holidays. I'm not a huge holiday person, and again, I'm not really in a Christmas mood this Christmas. However, I do enjoy the time off, even if it can be stressful, being, how it is when you go to your parents and stuff for the holidays. Things can be stressful. And there's a lot of stuff going on with my family now that they're older, so there's a lot of stress, trust me. But it is what it is. We'll make the best of it, and we'll get through. It'll be 2014. You blink, and it'll be not 2014. It'll be 2024, and you'll blink, and it'll be here in just a nanosecond. So, all right. I will let you guys go, and I'm sure I'll make another video probably on Monday, and that'll go out on Wednesday. All right. Talk to you guys later. Have a good day. Remember, like, comment, start the conversation. You want to talk about any of this stuff? Let's talk about this stuff. All right. Bye-bye.